This topic on whistleblowing really talks about people, and it affects us all in a very unique way. And I'd just be interested in finding out how many people have a whistleblowing process in their organizations. And do you have any exposure at all into the effectiveness, the types of claims, so that maybe the information that I'll have for you will open some eyes in terms of what the program can do for you. I want to share with you OLG's experiences and talk about the potential impacts around wrongdoing. It's a very, very inexpensive solution. When we talk about risk management, we talk about internal audit, we talk about systems, we usually talk mega dollars. This is a very inexpensive solution and, mind you, a very, very effective one. What I want to do is really talk about the impact of fraud. Now, I asked everybody if they had any exposure to their own programs, so some of the questions that you might want to be asking yourself around a whistleblowing process are some of the ones that I've listed up here on the slide. But here's some interesting statistics to consider. We checked it out, and in the year 2006, the FBI investigated 490 cases. Now, that's only a tip of the iceberg in terms of all of the investigations that were performed as a result of whistleblowing. But here's some of the results of the 490 cases. There were 171 indictments, 124 convictions, $1.2 billion in restitution, $41.5 million in recoveries, $14.2 million in fines, and $62.6 million in seizures. That's just from the 490 cases. I guess the point out of all of that is, isn't it better for us as corporations to undertake our own vigilance? You bet it is. Our program that we introduced was mandated by legislation. Again, we're an agency of the government, and we were required to appoint an integrity officer, which was our CEO, and create a facility where people could write in and lodge complaints. The requirement was very basic, and we chose to actually expand on it because the program that was given to us by the PSOA, which is the legislation, did not allow for anonymity. And we felt that if you really want to reach down, you really had to have that anonymous feature to the whistleblower. Some of the comments up here that, I'll get used to this. Some of the comments up here that talk about a hotline, a snitch line, a tips line, it goes back to the Nixon era of Deep Throat, for some of you who are old enough to remember, but it all has that negative spin to it. We wanted to take the negative spin out of our program, and hence the name Integrity Matters. It focuses on our core values of accountability, integrity, respect. Our people now feel more than ever that they have a sense of ownership. They feel that they can make a difference, and they know, given the importance placed on this, that it will be attended to. It makes them feel a lot more accountable. I always ask myself the question, and just, I guess for context, we implemented our whistleblowing process at the beginning of January, so it's been in operational now 9 months. But you ask yourself, going back, Enron, Globecon, the recent credit failures among the banks, the global banks, Lehman Brothers downfall, you wonder how many of the issues around policies, around sound practices, around perhaps preferential treatment, conflict of interest, how much of this or these problems could have been surfaced through a whistleblowing program? Won't know the answer, but we know that at least in the WorldCom situation, we know that people were suppressed and couldn't come forward because of fear of retribution. So given the opportunity to report wrongdoing in an anonymous way, it's amazing what opportunities you would create. I guess the main message here is, given who we are, the nature of our organization is to be very scrupulous. We're, again, an agency of the province of Ontario. Our standards are high, not to suggest others aren't, but we need to be cleaner than clean. Government have had their share of bad experiences, which makes life unpleasant for everyone. Our commitment is to the people of Ontario, and our commitment is to drive shareholder value. And we do this by protecting our assets and our revenue flows. No different than any publicly traded company. So today, I really want to do two things. I want to give you a little bit of context about who we are as OLG, and then talk about how we researched, we developed, and executed our implementation. Generally speaking, what our model looks like, and lastly, give you some idea of what some of the results are or have been. I don't know if you've seen this, but I tend to give a lot of my own personal opinions, so I'll be held accountable as my opinions, and therefore I will provide the disclaimer that these are not necessarily those of OLG. I have, as Byron said, over 30 years of experience working in banking, in retail, and banking sectors. Many t-shirts to prove it, and some would suggest many scars as well. Experience is a great teacher. So let's move into it. OLG is publicly accountable. We're constantly under the microscope. My job is really to promote a risk and control culture within the organization. And again, trying to balance the government needs against the corporation's wants and objectives can be a real tricky balance at times. But we really need to manage through four lenses by which we're perceived, and in some cases, sometimes judged. The first one is size and complexity. Byron mentioned it before that we are a $6 billion organization in annual revenues and generate almost $2 billion in below-the-line after-tax profits. These profits are forwarded to the government annually. We have 7,500 staff at 23 gaming sites. Gaming sites are typically racetrack and charity casinos. And we have two head offices, one in Toronto and one in Sault Ste. Marie. In addition, we have an additional 11,600 staff at our resort casinos, 4 resort casinos. And these, when I say resort casinos, these are Vegas caliber properties. They're destination properties with full casino, gaming, entertainment, restaurant, and hotels. So that just gives you some idea of the size and magnitude of our organization. We also have a lottery business, and the lottery business is embedded in just about every convenience store, gas station, and mall throughout Ontario, not dissimilar to how the lottery regime works in the various state jurisdictions here in the US. Some of the complexities that OLG faces: we have multiple relationships that we have to manage. We have to manage municipalities through because of our bingo business and our huge sponsorship in the communities. We have a government we have to answer to and try to influence policy with respect to the strategy and how we want to create innovation and new products in the market. We also have a relationship with racetracks. These are our